Leos, let's get this party started with our Transformational Tarot for July. It is going to be a hot one. Hello all, I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive and welcome to Aligned Astro Chat for our Transformational Tarot in July. So excited to be doing this segment with you guys that is part of my Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life. So let's get to it. I am pulling an overarching theme for your month from the Sweet Ass Affirmations from Rage Create. And then we are going to be pulling cards from the Wizards Tarot, and I don't have the box with me. It's in the garage. So the Wizards Tarot from Barbara Moore. All right, let's, as we said, let's get this party started and see what's coming up and coming through for us in this month. All right. With this energy, I feel like it's important for you guys to really pay attention to what matters, what your priorities are. I feel from an energetic perspective, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you, things that are pulling you in a number of different directions. And I'm hearing very clearly it's going to be up to you to actually make the call as to whether or not it's a priority for you. Here is your affirmation. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness. Wow. I'm going to read that again. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness. This feels very much like just kind of tapping into what I was talking about earlier. It's up to you to recognize where you are overextending yourself. It's not anybody else's job or responsibility to point it out. It's up to you to point it out. And when you do see it, there's going to be, it's like the tip of the iceberg, and you're going to realize, okay, I've been doing that in this area of my life, but actually I've been doing it in these areas as well. And so now I really need to shift my priorities because I'm recognizing that I am overextended. I am feeling a bit burned out, and I don't want to burn out. I want to burn bright. So honoring your suffering, honoring the truth of where you're at, honoring what commitments you've made that are now burdensome. You're restoring your awareness. And when you restore your awareness, now you've got a direction to go. You know, if you don't know what's broken, how can you fix it? But when you know better, you can do better. And that's what I feel is coming up and coming through. Okay, your present moment. Where are you right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Interesting. This Knight of Pentacles keeps coming up, and you may be new to this, but every time I do one of these videos, I use a different deck for each of the signs. So there's no way that we can have a repeat, the same card deck or whatever, and I'm pulling from the same card deck. So it's completely different energy, and here we go. So we've got this Knight of Pentacles, and what I'm feeling here is when I gave you the message about, let's get this show on the road, I really feel like that is the energy of what you're sitting in right now. Is you've been feeling a bit stunted. You've been feeling a little bit like, okay, you gave me a task. I want to go forward. I want to move ahead. I want to see how this is playing out in my life. But yet you're not giving me the actual go ahead. You're saying, well, let's just make a plan. Let's just talk about it. Let's just be in the energy of the possibility, what might be, what might become. And you're like, screw that. Like, let's get this show on the road. And I feel like this is actually a good place for you to be. You want to take a minute to acknowledge this. You don't want to let it pass you by, because if you let it pass you by without absorbing some of the break that this has provided, some of the rest and the reprieve that this has provided, you're going to have regret on the other side. Because you're going to say, oh my God, like I'm feeling burned out and I didn't take this recharge time. Don't push yourself to do more. Sometimes when our body needs that rest and that self-care, our minds get in the way, and our minds say, oh, but I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to do the other thing. And I'm classic at this too. I'll take a couple of days off. with the intention of saying, okay, I really need the time off because I need to recharge, but it'll be great for me to be able to knock this off my list and this and this and this. And then I take those 2 days, I get a bunch of shit done, I'm super productive, and then I'm exhausted. And I come out the other 2 days and I'm actually worse off than I was when I started. And I didn't get done the things that I needed to get done. So I feel like this is an invitation for you in the present moment right now to understand that, okay, this is about to change. I'm about to move out of that Knight of Pentacles energy, and I'm about to kick it into some high gear or medium gear at the very least. We are going to get started. So let me take the last couple of days of this vacation to really sink into it, to allow myself to rest up and recharge, and to maybe make some decisions about how I want to take this next journey moving forward, because I do want to be present for all of it. That's the whole point. That's the whole purpose of it. What's the catalyst for you? What's fueling or hindering this transformation? And is this resistance or rocket fuel for you? Oh, beautiful. 10 of Cups. Yeah, you're working towards a particular outcome, an ideal outcome. You do see a lot of hope. You do see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel with this, which is why I feel like you're so anxious to get on with it. And I feel like this is actually fueling you. So when we're looking at this 10 of Cups energy, I don't feel here that there's anything, sorry, I'm still working on my lighting. I don't feel that there's anything here that feels like it's hindering you at all. I feel more like you're just saying, all right, I just want to be here now. And what I'm going to say is I caution you in bulldozing through that, trying to get to this space before you're ready to get to this space, because there's value in this too. There's value in not being here yet. You will get here. You're on the way to that. This month, I feel, is the catapult for that. This is what's going to get you there. But I want to say, as pedantic as it sounds, it's not always about the destination. It's also about the journey. And so, yeah, they're walking through the gardens here, and it's wonderful, and it's, divine and delicious. What was the journey to get there? Because what are they actually talking about? What do they have to talk about? If they're just walking around in this beautiful garden and there's no story on how they got there, they might not have a whole lot to say to one another. You are going to have the story. And I feel like that's kind of that's the fuel here for you. Is, yes, you're going to get here. This is motivating you, but you also want to pay attention to the story that gets you here, because you're going to want to be able to talk about it. You're going to want to be able to reminisce on it. You're going to want to be able to live it fully. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation for you in July under the surface? The Devil. Wow. Capricornian energy. I feel like for some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, I feel like there's a Capricorn in your life that is, I want to say, playing a role or playing a part in bringing to the surface some unresolved wounds, unhealed wounds. I would also encourage you here, when we're talking about this as a deep belief, it's this idea that I have to go to the extremes in order to learn about myself. And that may at some point in your life have been the truth, have been the approach that you preferred to take, but I'm hearing no longer. That way of doing things isn't serving you. That's creating more addictive patterning and cycles. It's creating a lot more disruption, not only into your physical field, your body, but also to your mental field, because you keep beating yourself up every time you don't reach a particular goal that you're trying to reach. Whether it's a pattern or cycle or not, I feel that that's the problem. And I want to say, wherever you go, there you are. And this is kind of what is under the surface of what is driving you. And quite possibly why you are so driven to just arrive at the good part, the good bits, and to skip the journey. The Devil says, no, we need to enjoy all of it. We need to enjoy that journey, but the Devil is a little imbalanced. It's going to support you. With the Devil, he gives you a half an ounce of truth, for every lie that he tells, or every, I would even say maybe the Devil doesn't lie. The Devil stretches the truth, or the Devil presents things in a way that makes you believe what you want to believe about yourself, about the situation, about the offer on the table. And so I feel like you want to be aware of that and aware of how this egoic energy is playing a part in your decisions and in your choices at this time. That's really interesting. Your past, what's dying away? What part of you is falling away? And what role, pattern, or identity has run its course in your life? Interesting. King of Swords. Once again, I'm getting a hint that this is about a person in your life. We just talked about a Capricorn here. This isn't a Capricorn. This is an air sign. But feeling here like this is someone who represents a big burden that you have been carrying or you've had to deal with. Swords often is legal matters, legal situations. It's communication, written and verbal communication. I feel like this is someone who represents a burden to you, whether it's a legal burden or someone who, my ex-husband, love him, mean it. We're still great friends today. I always, whenever I approached him about anything, whether I was asking for something or approaching him about something, it was like I always had to build a case where I had like factual evidence and I had like, here's the reason why it's going to be good and you know, provide a lot of evidence to support that in order to kind of like, I always felt like I had to present my case. I feel like that's what this is, Leos, for you, is this is someone in your life that is representing that energy where you're having to present a case in order to be able to get what it is that you want or you need. And I want to say, when we are talking about this in terms of your past and what's dying away, what is moving on, I feel like you're moving on from the need to have this kind of energy in your life. And when we talk about king energy, it's leadership, it's mastery. When you're stepping into that, it's execution of a plan. And I feel like you're kind of letting go of somebody who's executed plans for you, and you're stepping more into the space of, you know what, actually, I've got this time. I can handle this. For those of you who are in a sort of a business situation, I would say to you, this is kind of where you recognize you've been paying, you know, hordes and gobs of money on people who say that they can, you know, market your business to wild success. And, you know, after several months or after a year, you're recognizing that, you know, you're just, you know, you're peeing the money into the wind. And you decide, you know what, I can actually take this back and I think I can do a better job because I have a better handle on or scope of what my message is. I feel that there's something along those lines where you're kind of taking something back because you're recognizing that what's going on just isn't worth your time anymore. It's not where you want to be. Very interesting. Highest potential. This is your phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? And we want to look at this as your breakthrough energy. Oh, I love it. Ace of Pentacles. So this makes sure that it makes sense that it's a breakthrough energy because it's planting a seed. And if we think about the analogy of that seed, a seed has to work really hard to rise and to grow, to pop through the surface of the soil, to become its truest potential. We can nurture the soil and we can add water to the soil and we can talk lovingly to the seed. But once we planted the seed, it's up to the seed whether or not it wants to grow or it's going to grow. And it's going to go through the effort, the journey, the struggle for life. And I feel like, in essence, this is really what you're stepping into, is you're ready for that new beginning. You're ready to plant some new seeds. And I feel like you're also really kind of open to not the struggle so much, but you're open to the effort required to get to where it is that you want to go. There's power in that effort. But I feel like for you, it's about giving yourself permission to actually make the space to be able to plant the seed. I feel like you want to plant the seed. You have the seed to plant, but maybe you don't have the ground to plant the seed in. Or maybe you've got the ground to plant the seed in, but you know that ground needs a little help. And so I feel like the message here is like, Resolve the problem so you can just put the seeds in the ground, because that's the easy part. The easy part is the planting of the seeds. The easy part is nurturing the seeds, watering the seeds. The hard part is the seed, like that's on the seed. So it's like you're thinking you're the seed, but you're not. You don't have to do the hard work, but you have to plant the seed in order for something to happen. Once the seed's been planted and it grows, then you become a little more involved in it, right? Then there's a little more work to harvest it and, you know, enjoy it and all of those things. But don't mistake, you are not the seed. You are planting the seed. And I feel like that distinction is really important. If you're thinking that you're the seed, that would explain why, like, you're anxious to get things started, but you haven't gotten anything started. It's the recognition, oh, I'm not the seed. I'm the planter of the seed. So I get to plant the seed wherever I want to go. And let's see if the seed's going to make it. So I want to say, what I keep hearing in my head is shit or get off the pot. Like, it's like, let's just do it. You know, not everything has to be perfect. But if you need to till the soil a little bit or nurture the soil, by all means, do that. And do that now. Get on that now. Next step, what is emerging just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support your next phase? Beautiful. Page of Cups, it's the journey of the creativity, the creative flow, I want to say the excitement of something new. She's catching the fish, and she caught it because she was creative. She didn't use a fishing rod. She decided, I'm going to just go in and I'm going to use my magic. I'm going to talk to the fish. I'm going to invite the fish to come into my cup. You know, I'm going to do this because I feel the magic within me. I don't necessarily need to do it the way everybody else does it. I'm going to be fully in my flow. I'm going to be intuitive about what this is. I'm going to be in the moment and listen to those urgings, to those inspirations, those soft little whispers. And I'm going to see what transpires. And I'm going to have fun with it. I take that innocent approach. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to know how it's all going to turn out. I certainly don't need to apply, you know, the intense energy that comes from, you know, that devil card energy, or even the kings. I just need to be in flow. Wow, I love that. I love that for you guys. Okay, this is what part you're playing in your own process. How are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Interesting. So our second page in a row. Pages are student energies. It's also messages. Messaging that is coming from above. And I have to point out, you had an Ace of Pentacles and a Page of Pentacles. These two are very synergistically connected. The Ace is the pure potential. The Page is making the plan, you know, exploring the plan, doing a little research to see how the Ace can come about. So when we're talking about the role that you're playing, this is a card of curiosity. It's a card of understanding or playing around with your magic. You might not understand fully the impact that your magic has. You might not fully understand the scope of what you can do. And maybe some of your magic is going to be a little too much at first until you're able to learn the boundaries and the confines around it. But again, it's not about extremes for you here as much as it's let's just play and learn based on what is transpiring. So the role that you're playing, I feel, is yes, you know you're not the seed. You just need to plant the seed. And now you're creating that plan to plant the seed. And that's exactly what this is. You know, she's got these little jars in her hand or on her waist. She's letting out some of the fairy energy. She's alchemizing her own magic. She's focusing her wand energy here. She's doing it in nature. So she's using the resources that she has around her. She doesn't come with a ton of expectation. She's coming with play. She's coming with experimentation, which is exactly what you need when you plop a bunch of seeds into the earth. You don't know how it's all going to play out. All you can do is what you can do from the top. You don't see what's happening under the surface. You just do the best that you can. And I feel like that's the role that you need to step into here. You're not going to know exactly how everything turns out and plays out. You will eventually. You'll find that out. But all in good time. Right now, again, it's about planting those seeds and having a little fun with the process. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is that being influenced positively or negatively? Oh, we got another ace. I love it. Ace of Wands. Okay, so this is inspired action. And I love the little lizard that is tattooed on their hand. Let me show you here. On their wrist. They've got a little lizard on their wrist. Lizards are transformation. They work well in the heat, right? They can function in the heat. They're used to living in the heat. They don't need a ton of water to live, to exist. They're very adaptable and versatile, and they're gentle. They're gentle creatures. They're gentle in spirit and gentle in nature. I feel like, okay, I just kind of went off on a tangent there. I feel like the lizard animal is your friend. I feel you want to look up lizard spirit guide, because I feel that that is going to be a source of support for you. I'm also feeling, as we're looking into this Ace of Wands energy and we think about that inspired action, I feel like the support is going to come to you when you take the action steps that are external, the steps that other people can see you taking. And other people will acknowledge it, and they will step up and say, oh, that's really cool that you're doing this, that, or the other thing. How can I help? So I feel like the inspired action needs to be taken, and then the help arrives. And you may feel like you don't need the help. You may say, oh, thank you so much, but I got it, and I'll just keep you posted. But then you could also say on the other side, oh my God, you know what? I never even thought to ask you, but you would be great at this or this. Would you be willing to assist me with that? So I feel like the support comes as a result of you taking the action. And the action is definitely coming from your heart space. And it's going to be external in its approach. And that's how others recognize that you might need a little bit of support, because it is external and they're seeing you working with it. Hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming? And what scares you about actually doing it? Wow. Okay. So what I'm really hearing is you're afraid of becoming boring. You're afraid of becoming standard, predictable. You're afraid of losing yourself in the quiet, in the stillness, in the non-action, the non-drama. And what's really interesting about this particular depiction of the Two of Pentacles is there's so much green in this card. Growth, abundance, health, balance. Balance is different for everyone, and quite frankly, we could argue that balance changes on a minute-to-minute basis depending on what the situation and the circumstances are. So you need to always be in a space of being prepared to evaluate what balance is what balance is needed for you, what level of balance is needed. But I would argue here, when we are looking at this in terms of hopes and fears, I see this as being you feeling like, if I do all of these things, I'm going to become all the things I don't want to be. And that's where a lot of, I want to say, resistance comes into the mix. But that's also where you're running into health problems, health concerns. You're not equating the two. But really, the body is showing up and saying, hey, you're afraid of this and this and this, but really we want you to lean into some meditation. We want you to lean a little more into ease and flow of the movement that you're taking. We want you to have a Knight of Pentacles experience so that when you are ready for that Ace of Wands and that inspired action, you are good to go. You're recharged. So I feel like the fear that you have and what stops you from moving forward is the very thing that your guides have been trying to teach you in this last cycle. And I feel like this month, you have the opportunity to learn that, to say, I'm not going to be boring if I stay at home and meditate 2 nights in a row, rather than going out and being so social, or, being in people's faces, or going out and being seen. It doesn't make me boring. It doesn't make me pedantic. It doesn't even make me less interested or disinterested in life. what it is I'm establishing some balance in terms of my physical and energetic resources. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to need to get this whole party started. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness. You're afraid of that. And yet that is exactly what you need to call in to your life, into your space at this time. Wow. Big opportunities here, Leo, for you to release some things from the physical body that have been maybe a little chronic for you of late. And you haven't made that connection yet on the why. I feel like that's a really powerful, really strong message that's coming through on how your guides want to help you this month. And finally, we have the outcome of our transformation. If you stay on course, who will you be on the other side of this journey? And what is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? Another Knight of Wands. So Leos, you guys are fire energy. So this is your happy place. And actually, Knight of Wands, I believe, is actually a Sagittarius card, if I'm not mistaken. But that's okay, right? You like your fellow Sagittarians because they understand the fire component of things. This Knight of Wands, I feel with you coming out the other side of it, it's what you're desiring. It's what you're resisting right now. Like, here's where you are. You're at Knight of Pentacles, but you really want to be Knight of Wands. So I want to say the message is simple. If you don't want to be this anymore and you want to be this, do these things. And this will be the outcome. I feel like your guides are making it super duper simple. This plus this equals this. And then you're off like a shot. But remember, if you don't do that Knight of Pentacles energy, if you're not recharging, if you're not focusing on your health and your healing on a mental level as well as a physical level and an emotional level and an energetic level and all the things in the stuff, you're going to continue to go around the merry-go-round with your particular vices, and feeling always like I'm so close to getting where I want to be, but not quite. There's so much potential. There's so much newness that's happening. You've got tens, which is new beginnings based on an already established foundation. You've got a number of aces, which is the pure potential. And you've got twos. Knights are, pages are 11s. I almost said knights are 11s. Pages are 11s, and you've got 2 pages as well. So 1, 1, 2, master number 1. So a lot of new beginnings and fresh starts here. This is the potential and laying the foundation for what is to come. The plan is the 2. So this is the month to say yes to the potential, to do the work, to bring yourself into balance and alignment so that next month, when you get to enact the plan, when you get to create the plan and enact the plan, you are good to go. And there is nothing stopping you. Wow. Okay. So Leo, that is our reading for our transformational tarot reading for July of 2025. OMG. Pretty powerful messaging for you. And I want to say it's a little bit of a frying pan, a universal frying pan to the head. And I feel like it's being delivered in a more intentional and intense way for you because they really want you to get the message. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness. That's what it's all about. You're ready for something new and different. You're ready to restore your awareness, but you have to choose it. It can't be chosen for you. And that's what you're facing right now. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you're having struggle with some of these transformations, if you're looking for a little clarity, guidance, support, want a little direction around this, I do private readings and private sessions, and I would love to be able to connect with you on this and help you in any way that you need. Please feel free to click on the link below to make connections. And otherwise, we will see you on the flip side. I hope you have the most amazing month. Transform well.